Hey yo, I'm Tony Miello of Rocketing Studios.
Hi, I'm Casey Pierce, and you're watching the Tony Miello interview on CosmicCasey.com.
Hello, I'm Casey Pierce again with CosmicCasey.com, and we are here with Mr. Tony Miello of Rocketing Studios.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good. Now, okay, before I even get into it, it's Miello.
Yes.
Right, because I hear people on the concert get, you know, they go Miello or Miello.
Yeah, don't listen to Dirk.
my buddy over there, Tony Miello. Emilio over there. So, anyway, it is Miello.
Miello.
I always say Miello. Anyways, so, okay, so let's get right into it. Not only are you an artist, but you wear a lot of hats, and you are very much a self-driven person, and as long as I've known you, that's the first thing I noticed right off the bat. You're an artist, you're a writer with Gapo, you own your own publishing company with Bill Bukowski, obviously Rocketing Studios. Let's see here, and soon-to-be actor. So you wear a lot of hats, and you didn't go to school for art, you are self-taught.
Yes.
That's amazing. Now let's talk about before all this, before the Portraits of Poe, before the Gapo, before the cover of Metro Times. Let's talk about where it all started now. Talk about where you hail from.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
No shit.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody could ever tell that from my accent. I know I get mistaken for Australian all the time.
That's funny. Okay, so well, why comics?
When I was a kid, I was about 6 years old, and I'm watching a kid show. It was called Wonderama on New York local TV, and Stan Lee was a guest, and he's on there, and he's taking questions from the kids in the audience, and he's talking about how how he gets into the characters when he's writing, and when he writes the Hulk, he gets all growls and grunts, and when he's writing Thor, he's using all that proper
animated
English.
about
he gets animated. He's talking about now whether he did or he didn't. It didn't matter. It was it captivated me, and I'm watching Stan Lee on TV, and I'm like, wow, I want to make comic books.
Right.
So from the time I was 6 years old, that's what I was doing. I was drawing superheroes.
Because I think that's the point of literature with pictures, hence comic books. It's the art that draws you in and just kind of ropes you in. Right. But it's the story that keeps the ride going.
Coming back,
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So that started from a very young age. I understand, 3 years old.
When I was 3 years old, I started drawing on the dining room wall with crayons.
But your mom loved you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Well,
she loved me, but
Did she spank you with a wooden spoon like most Italian moms?
Yeah, of course. Until I was about 19 years old when she broke it over me.
Nice. Okay, so anyways, all right, well, let's go into Gapo. Now, Gapo begins way back from your beginnings, from your childhood backstory.
No, from my son's childhood.
Oh, from your son's childhood,
yes. Okay. I would have to watch all that children's programming with my kid, and there was one show in particular, The Wiggles, which drove me crazy. And I always said, it'd be funnier if these guys were just abusive to the kids. They were just mean and rotten. And, I started drawing this drunken clown, and I just developed this comic strip around him where he hosts this TV show, and he's just surly and drunk and mean, but, everybody who watches the show loves him because he's on TV. And it sort of became my statement of how, if you're on television, you can do anything and people are going to love you. So. Yeah,
well, lovable asshole.
Well,
so you see yourself a lot in Gapo.
Yeah, I see, actually I do. There is a piece of me in Gapo. There's a piece of me in every character that I create.
Right.
But some of Gapo's less admirable traits I do see in myself sometimes. So.
Okay. But what I was saying back to your childhood was the name Gapo.
Oh yes, Gapo is an acronym that my father would use all the time, and Gapo stands for Gorilla Armpit Odor. So yes, the name, it has its roots in my childhood.
So he'd scrub you down and say that you had Gappo.
Yeah, when I was little, he'd say, "Oh, you have Gappo. Time for a bath."
Streets of Brooklyn, turn on the,
right,
fire hydrant.
Open the fire hydrant, shoot me down the street. And
be loud to you.
right.
Kids. Anyway, so Gappo is all in black and white.
Yes.
And when was this published?
A couple of years ago.
And I believe Gary Reed had a hand in this?
It started off self-published, and then Gary picked it up and published it through Transfusion.
Okay, awesome. So when this was published, was this your first published work?
No.
What was that?
I worked for a small independent company when I lived in New York in the mid-90s called Innovision Comics. And I was the inker on a book called, miniseries called Fates 5. That was my first published work. I think it came out in like 94 or 95.
Gotcha. This was your first...
This is my first...
This is your first baby.
Yeah, this was my whole creation. I mean, I wrote it, drew it.
From the get-go.
Put it to, all of it is me, so
right.
This is the first creator-owned project I did.
When you got this copy in your hands, or this whole book, this is my art, these are my words, this is my creation. How did that feel? It
was cool. I mean, you spend all your free time working on something because it's a passion, and then to have this nice, clean, finished product, and you get to see all the hard work that you did kind of in this one nifty little treat. It was fun. It was exciting. It was exciting to see,
Nice.
I was really the thing I really liked is I became friends with cartoonist Bill Morrison, and he agreed to write the introduction for the book for me, and it's so good. It's very inspiring to me what he wrote, and he actually makes me sound almost important. So
he makes me sound legit.
Yeah, he makes me sound legit, So yeah, so that was a big highlight for me.
Awesome. So when did Metro Times get a hold of you about Gappo? Explain the story. Because this was very recent. This was long after the book.
Yeah, long after the book. This issue actually came out a couple of weeks ago, and they had gotten in touch with me, I guess, a couple of months ago, and asked me if I wanted to do a comic strip they were doing a comic issue, and I'm like, yeah. And so they said I could do a Gappo comic strip. I'm like, sure. And I asked them, I said, what are you doing for the cover? And they said, we don't know yet. I said, well, do you have an artist? And they said, no. I said, I'll do the cover for you. And so they're like, okay. So I did a piece for the cover, and they liked it, but they said it was too sentimental for what they were going for. So, and you can see that piece, it's inside the magazine. But they said, we want something different for the cover. Can you do Gappo? And do them with a Detroit theme.
Right.
So the actual art for this piece is a little bigger, and you see Hart Plaza over his left shoulder, and this is the Joe Louis fist over his right shoulder, and he's wearing a Detroit Tigers hat. But they wanted him wearing a hat, they wanted him smoking a cigar, and I was like, yeah, I'm all about that.
Because Gappo's got an edge, Detroit
has an edge, so yes. That's what they wanted. So
awesome, wonderful. Okay, now when was it that you, onto another self-starter, how did you go about publishing your own, creating your own publishing company? But what made you decide to wake up one day and go, you know what, I'm gonna make my own publishing company?
Well, it was me and Bill, both of us working freelance, and you work on jobs and trading cards or in books, and you get paid, a little bit of money for doing a lot of time-consuming work. And we're like, why don't we just do this ourselves? And we're like, all right, let's think of some projects we could do. The first thing we did was Portraits of Poe. Both of us were very much inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. We're both big fans of his work. And
I'm a big fan of this, by the way. It's such a great idea, and such beautiful illustrations too.
Yeah, the artists that we got involved, and it really did a good job. I'm very proud of this. I think the artwork is stellar. I think everybody just, everybody did a really good job. And
a lot of heart went into this project. Great artists. Now, who are some of the artists featured in this?
Bruce Gerlach, John Marquand, Jay Fosgitt, who else? Kelly O'Hara. I'm drawing blanks right now, but there's, I think, a total of 13 different artists involved in this project.
All local.
All local.
All Motor City Sketch.
I think 90% Motor City Sketch. I think we have one artist who's not local, one or two who aren't local, but for the most part, everybody's local. But it's just really good, solid artwork. This is one of my favorite pieces in the book. It's absolutely beautiful. So, and we had done a trading card set with it also, which included sketch cards. And the sketch cards we got were just unbelievable. I mean, the artwork that people were turning in was absolutely beautiful. There were cards that I was really sorry to see go, because I really would have liked to have kept them for myself because they were so nice. But I think we really put out a quality product, and the trading cards sold out. The book has been selling really well, so we haven't made an official announcement yet, but we will be doing a follow-up to Portraits of Poe.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah.
Because it kind of, I guess it would be in the same vein of comics, that it's the illustration that tells the story and vice versa, that, the art, the illustrations and the story kind of feed off of each other, but it's not paneled, it's not considered a comic.
What we did was called spot illustration. There are 9 different short stories and poems in the book, and each one is accompanied by a new original piece of artwork that's inspired by that short story or poem. So we wanted to have one piece of artwork that when you look at it, you see the inspiration for that one piece from that story. Right. So I did The Telltale Heart, Hop Frog, and Words with a Mummy. And each piece I did, I tried to take elements from the story and incorporate it into the artwork, so that this way that one piece kind of told a story. And that was what I was trying to do. I wanted to convey something more than just having a picture to go along with the story. I wanted this picture to describe the story. Right.
Well, just like with comics. So maybe it's not that far off.
It's
all in the same vein. So I do love this book. And buy the t-shirt. There's somebody very cool that models it. Anyway. So, moving on, let's talk about your movie.
Oh.
Let's talk about that. So, Aladdin.
It's Aladdin 3477. It's an independent film. It's written and directed by artist Matt Bush.
Of course, Hollywood is Dead.
Right, Hollywood is Dead. And it's going into production this summer. And I really don't know how much I can talk about.
Okay. Can you tell me the plot? Or is it... We don't want to reveal anything.
Yeah,
Can you give me a gist?
It basically follows the story of Aladdin, but it takes place in the future. As the title Aladdin 3477 would suggest.
Would you say it's Aladdin sci-fi?
Yes, it's going to be sci-fi. Yes! It's definitely going to be sci-fi.
That's awesome. Awesome.
It's
why do I picture robots like on a magic carpet, like a whole new world?
I don't think there's going to be any songs.
What?
Well, maybe I'll sing, but I don't know if they might make it to the
You should sing in the credits. Matt Bush is going, what the hell? How did I do this?
Somebody shut that fat kitty up!
He was on the cutting floor and he just went forward like, a whole new world.
But I just met with Matt over the weekend, and I went over some direction, and I got my script. So you know, I was instructed that I'm not supposed to reveal anything about my character. So you know, I don't want to talk about anything that I shouldn't be talking about. But I'm very excited about this. I saw the storyboards and the character designs for the movie and some of the set drawings, and I'm really excited. I think
I am too.
It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like something that I would be into. You know, if I wasn't involved with it,
right? You would want to. Yeah,
it'd be something I'd want to go see. It was something, you know. So you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Production starts in May.
In May.
Okay, so do you know the projected date of release?
I do not. I know there's a lot of special effects that are going into this.
Right. So does that depend on the Kickstarter then?
Possibly. I don't have enough information to really talk about all that.
But there is a Kickstarter for it.
There will be at some point.
Okay.
I believe, yes.
Okay. All right. So look out for that Kickstarter. Support your arts. Anyways, and I want to see this movie, so put some money into it. And I will too. Anyways, so that's very exciting. So when Matt Bush approached you about the project, what did he say? He just want you to come read for some parts?
Yeah, he asked me. Well, we were together talking about something a while ago. And he had mentioned that he was, getting ready to do this movie, and he had said that. I said, I'd love to work on a movie. He's like, well, yeah. He goes, I'd like you to read for some parts. And I'm like, all right, but I didn't think anything of it. I figured he's just being polite. But then he emailed me and he asked me if I would come down and read for some parts, and I think I read for 4 different characters, and I got a part. I'm playing a villain, so I'm very excited.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. From Brooklyn to Detroit, I mean, the two combined, such villainy. Anyways, but and going into that too, how is the on a personal note, the transition from Brooklyn to Detroit?
It was different.
It was different.
Oh yeah. I hadn't lived I grew up in Brooklyn, but I had moved out to Long Island, which was, the suburbs. And, but even then, even in the suburbs of New York, it's very fast paced. The hustle and bustle of the big city kind of carries over. Long Island is very congested, so there's a lot going on. There's, the constant agitation of traffic and all that nonsense.
But you were used to that.
I was used to that, and when I moved here, there was none of that. It was very.
See, we don't think that way though, because we are in a metro environment.
Right, but this is here we are in the suburbs of Detroit, and it's very laid back here. I mean, for me anyway. As compared, yeah. I mean, I went from when I lived in New York, I was working in Manhattan, and I'd have to go in, rush hour, or I'd come home in rush hour. I'd go home before anybody else was really up. I'd go into work because I was working construction, and so you're coming home and you got to fight through the streets and pushing and shoving on train platforms, and it was all hectic and everything was rush, and there was some people always hustling and bustling all over the place, and I was used to that though. That was my.
That was your life.
I mean, that's
how would you know
that's how I grew up.
Right.
And when I moved here, and everybody was so friendly, and it was hard for me to get used to right away. I mean, it sounds weird to say that, but it was off-putting to have complete strangers greeting you on the street as you're walking. It's like.
Right.
You look at them
with
suspicion.
I would have a standoffish attitude too if I was shoulder to shoulder with people, because I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because I look at movies or on the news, the streets of New York, and people are walking back and forth.
That's the way it is. Everybody is just
Mm-hmm.
And you're on the street with hundreds of other people, but you're completely by yourself because nobody's paying attention to each other. The only thing they're trying to do is not get knocked over.
Right.
So it's a very weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Yet
Because it sounds cold, but it's really not.
It's what they're used to. It's what they're used to. It's what
right.
you know. It's just but you don't want to. I mean, if one thing 9/11 taught us, you know, with New York is you mess with one of them, you mess with all of them.
Right. Right.
So they definitely, you know, they know how to come together.
Right. Right.
So
love it. So let's talk about. Oh, you're also a show promoter. Let's add one more to that.
One more thing. One
more thing. So yes, Detroit Fanfare.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get started with Detroit Fanfare? Now let me go on to explain that Detroit Fanfare is one of those cons that I feel celebrate more of the indie artist.
We're definitely more about
Artist Alley. I
feel. Well, it's we're more about celebrating comic books and the people who make them than we are about the periphery stuff.
Right, because some, and I'm not going to name names, some commercial cons that have the bigger names and are a little more broad spectrum, more about pop culture. Mm-hmm. It's hard for an artist in Artist Alley at those type of shows.
It can be,
you kind of drown in it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just from my experiences, being at some of those shows, it's easy to get lost in the spectacle that is the convention.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's so much there to draw people's attention that lots of them don't take the time to explore Artist Alley and see work by people who made the comics that
they're wearing the T-shirts for.
Yeah, exactly.
They get swallowed in vendors.
The actors that are there wouldn't have roles in comic book movies or TV shows or other geek culture if it wasn't for the comic books. Mm-hmm. And that kind of gets lost in a lot of these conventions. We try to put the focus back on comic books. Mm-hmm. We love comic books. I mean, that's pretty much what it's all about. I mean, the show is put on by a comic retailer, a comic publisher, and a comic artist. And we, Dennis Barger and Gary Reed are my partners in promoting the show. And we love what we do. And I think we try to make that show when we're putting the con together, because we want to showcase comic books and the people who make them and the people who sell them and the people who publish them. And we're not as interested in all the other bells and whistles. We want a comic book convention.
Because you know where these people come from.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much even knowing. I mean, I guess that's part of it, but there are so many other shows that people can go to for that.
Right.
We want a comic book convention. We don't want a pop culture expo. We don't want a...
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I go to those shows. I love those shows. Mm-hmm. But I love comic books. From the time I was little, I love comic books. I love making them. I love reading them. I love collecting them. And I wanted the show that I was involved with to be about comic books. And that's what we strive to do. And it's what we try to give the fans who, spend their hard-earned money to come to our convention. We tell them, you're coming to a comic book convention. You're going to get comic books here. And
mm-hmm.
They know that coming in, and we try to deliver.
Right. Right. And you do have celebrity guests.
We do. It's not like we don't bring in celebrity guests, but
right.
our goal is to bring in people who have one degree of separation from comic books. So, we do bring in people who were in Star Wars or did voices for cartoons or, whatever, because we understand that's what our fan base wants.
Because last year you had the cast of Adventure Time.
Adventure Time and some of the voice actors from Futurama.
Yeah.
So, and
you had bigger artists like Angus Oblong.
Angus Oblong was there, Ryan Stegman, Jeff Smith, Will Spicaccio, Who else was there? Gosh, I don't even remember. You know, it's just like a blur to me now.
Say the name again.
Wills Pataccio.
Is that the one I told you that my brother went nuts over?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Gotcha.
From Image, yeah.
Right, okay, awesome. So, but switching gears, I mean, from going to cons and touring cons to being behind the scenes, that's a hell of a gear change. Were you ready for that, your first year of Fanfare?
I think I went in thinking it was going to be a lot easier than it actually turned out to be.
Oh, we all think
so. Yeah, I mean, the first year, I think the first year we put on a hell of a good show.
That was 2010.
2010.
Yep.
And, I mean, everybody had a great time, and, we try to...
I met Bruce Campbell at one of your shows.
Yep, 2011.
Yep. And he made a joke about me that went over my head. He's from Royal Oak. I'm from Taylor. They call it Taylor Tucky. And I was so starstruck at the time. And he had said to me, where are you from? And I'm like, Taylor. And he goes, oh, I'll talk a little slower then. And my boyfriend at the time was dying laughing. And I just went, like, you're Bruce Campbell.
Proving his point.
And then later on, I'm like, oh shit, that was a hillbilly joke. Got it, thank you. So thank you, Mr. Campbell, appreciate that. So anyways, but yeah, it's such a blast too.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, that's, we want to have fun. I mean, we put a lot of work into the show. We want to have fun. We want the people attending the con to have fun. We want our guests to have fun. We want everybody who walks through that door to have a good time. And that's why we're all about the Comic-Con during the day, and we're all about cutting loose and having a party at night.
And what a party.
Yeah, I guess I don't remember much from the last one.
I don't either. Maybe that's a good thing. So anyways, I just remember saying during the costume contest that I had won Most Original. I don't remember what the guy asked me, but all I said on the microphone was, I'm in my panties at a Comic-Con! Because I was Rainbow Dash and cheerleading shorts. They weren't panties. But anyways. So you are a lot of things in one. And let me just tell you, you were so self-driven. You wear all these hats. You're here. You're doing it. You are the American dream.
I'm trying.
You are. That's no BS. Seriously, you are the American dream to me and to a lot of other aspiring writers, artists, people on the concert. And I see it. And they look to you. Once they get to know you, they're like, wow, I can do this too. So
if I can do it, anybody can do it.
That's really inspiring too. That really is. And so anyways, where can we check out your art, and where can we purchase Rocket Inc.'s publications?
My art right now can be found on my Facebook fan page, The Art of Tony Miello. I'm in the process of building a new website. It's just a mess
which features
right now.
his canvas work, which is out of this world.
And you can pick up Portraits of Poe and other products from Rocket Inc. Studios at rocketincstudios.com. Look for us on Facebook and like us, and you'll be able to get all the updates on all our new projects. We just announced the Hollywood is Dead trading card set to accompany Matt Bush's coffee table book of his Hollywood is Dead posters. So those trading cards will be coming out in May. It's, I think, a 40 card base set and a sketch card in every pack. Limited 250 packs. And we will be announcing our next set very shortly. Like us on Facebook, and you'll be able to get all those updates.
Awesome, wonderful. Now, as you know, I do have a vidcast called Dark Blend.
Yes.
Where we talk about conspiracy theories and paranormal, and every interview I do, I like to throw in a wild card question. Okay. So, more recently, I've been hearing about it, and I've heard about it in the past. Not just with this administration, but administrations in the past, ever since the internet, that internet control might be going in the hands of the UN, whereas like in other countries, they can block you from looking at certain websites, viewing certain information for all what I call the greater good. Now, I think that falls in line with censorship, and also, I mean, that's, in my opinion, as bad as book burning.
Yes.
So, and book banning and things like that. So, how do you feel about that? Do you think the rumors are true?
I don't think the rumors are true on that. We have certain freedoms in this country that I don't think we're going to allow a board of foreign governing bodies to rule over. You know, we fought a war a couple of 100 years ago to not have that. I can't see that happening. I mean, I could see them. I mean, there's always talk about them net neutrality and, you know, allowing different companies to be able to control what is seen and not seen on the internet. I think a lot of it is just talk. I can't see. I don't see us censoring the internet. I don't see our government censoring it.
Because as an artist, this kind of piss you off.
Well, yeah, I don't like censorship in any kind. I mean, there's a lot of things out there that I don't agree with, but I respect anybody's right to view it or read it or preach it. You know, it's just like television. You don't like what's on, change the channel. You know, I don't have to. I don't have to read it. I don't have to look at it, and I don't have to listen to it.
Because what it comes down to is the question of: is the internet a human right or is it a privilege? I think it's both. To be honest with you, I
don't think it's a right. I mean, it's a man-made thing. It's all it really is a form.
Anybody should be allowed to go on the internet, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, anybody can go on the internet.
Except for porn in the library or something like that. Social graces people, I understand that.
As long as children aren't watching. But the internet is, you know, it's not like it's something like, you know, everybody's entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness under our Constitution. Is, you know, you don't have a birthright to the internet. You know, you have the ability to have access to it, but there's nothing that says you have to have access.
Well,
to it.
That's
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
like
I think if you're able, you know, if you have a computer and you want to get on the internet, you should be able to look at whatever you want to look at,
yes,
especially in the privacy of your own home.
Well, that's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, at work, yeah, block Facebook, sure, or you know, like I said, at high schools, block, you know, the dirty stuff and
right,
things like that. But for liberties like that to be in the hands of any government, like, you know, our own government,
mm-hmm,
that, I don't know, that just bothers me. Just censorship in general bothers me. Right. Therefore, I file that under censorship, right, and I'm not for that.
Censorship in any form is bad. I can't get behind censorship at all of any kind, mm-hmm, regardless of where you stand politically or religion or whatnot. The minute you start saying that you could look at this, but you can't look at this, and oh, that's, you know, it's the slippery slope thing. It's, you know, you. Mm-hmm. It's just stupid. Censorship is stupid.
Yeah. This is Tony Miello.
Censorship is stupid. Put that on a T-shirt.
Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap up here. Thank you so much, Tony Miello. I gotta say it like that. You no problem. So, okay, again, I'm Casey Pierce with CosmicCasey.com. See you next time. Thank you.
Hi, Mom.